We've got 15 Am I the Devil Reddit stories for today's video. Starting it off, with am I the a-hole for not wanting my dad to walk me down the aisle because he's in a wheelchair? Posted in Am I the Devil with the caption, actually made me cry, no joke. Seemed like a absolutely evil first story to start off the video with, but stick around for 14 more insane Am I the Devil Reddit stories, such as, am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend over 4-leaf clovers? This one was the most upvoted of the week in Am I the Devil, so it's gotta be evil. Oh, and it does have an update. What a nice surprise. As well as the story we will be ending the video off on, am I the a-hole for suggesting we hire a surrogate for our second baby and telling my wife why when she freaked out and refused? Alrighty, chat, y'all know what we doing. Let's lock in here. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my dad to walk me down the aisle because he's in a wheelchair? About 3 years ago, my dad was injured in a really bad hit and run car accident. He broke just about every bone in his body and left him paralyzed from the waist down. Our relationship has always been really good, but I hate seeing him in pain and admittedly try to avoid seeing him because it just makes me uncomfortable. In November, I'm getting married. I've been with my fiance for 4 years and he and my dad get on really well. Naturally, the discussion of who was going to give me away came up in the family group chat, and I kept silent after realizing my dad would be in a wheelchair. We always talked about him giving me away and having a dance at my wedding, and I don't want to be reminded of what could have been at my wedding. I messaged my mom privately and told her I want my uncle to walk me down the aisle as we're incredibly close. She naturally asked why, and I told her that my dad being in a wheelchair would add complications to the wedding. The walkway would have to be widened to accommodate his wheelchair, and he wouldn't be able to hold my arm or give me a proper hug. She was outraged, called me an ableist POS, and removed me from the group chat. My aunt has since called me, telling me my dad is absolutely devastated. I mean, as he should be. Talk about kicking homeboy while he's down. I mean, this poor dad, dude. This is a tradition you guys have been talking about forever, and you're letting the wheelchair be the deciding factor. Like, he already probably is like, oh, there's a bunch of stuff in my life that I'm not able to do anymore because I'm in this wheelchair. And then you're just putting the cherry on top of all the stuff he's probably already dealing with. That's evil. I know I've always said, like, your wedding, your rules, but like, if you choose not to let your dad walk you down the aisle, that's fucking evil. That is the only exception to the rule, I think. I mean, even this line of like, avoid seeing him because it makes me uncomfortable. Bro, how do you think he feels? Like, he's going through this huge change in his life and his own daughter isn't there because you're uncomfortable? You're just salting the wound by not being there for him. People are not alive to make you comfortable. That's a good point too, Brenda. It's probably a hard transition, but like, I think there are things in this world that no matter how you feel, you've got to prioritize somebody else's feelings. I just think that's a reality of life for people that you care about. When there's something that makes you a little uncomfortable, like I think the example for me is like, my mom just really likes it when I go to church with her, and if she asks me, I very rarely say no. I don't like church at all, but like, because it's important to my mom and I love my mom, I try to just go when it makes sense. And we have discussions about not being religious and stuff, and she understands that. It just means a lot to her. I think there's a lot about being family with somebody where it's like, hey, sometimes you maybe don't want to do something or it's uncomfortable for you, but as long as you're not being like physically or emotionally hurt by it, like, your dad should be the priority because he's going through something that nobody would wish anyone would go through in their life. That would give me the ick. If I was marrying a woman and she said this about her own father, I'd be like, wait a minute, maybe I don't want to marry you. All right, we got 3 small one-liner updates. Update 1, I appreciate all the people who have messaged me offering me support. Your kind words have meant a lot to me whilst rifling through a bunch of messages telling me to do horrible things to myself. Regardless of what you think, telling me these things isn't okay. I'm going to call my dad tomorrow. Maybe there are just bigger people out in the world than me, chat, but I would not offer this person support. I would yell at them in the comments. I wouldn't maybe tell them to do horrible things to themselves, but they don't deserve support. Update 2, can people please stop messaging me such horrendous stuff? Think about what you're saying. You may not agree with me or my life, but you're just as bad as I apparently am if you're going around saying stuff like that to strangers on the internet. I don't disagree with that. People be taking stuff way too far on the internet. Another one-liner update, not that I owe it to anyone, but I thought I'd give y'all an update. My boyfriend and I have decided to part ways, and I've apologized with my dad. All right, so what we were saying was cooking. I think this boyfriend saw this shit and was like, maybe not forever and always. Oh my God. All right, you know what? Hey, she got her karma. Honestly, I'm chilling. That one was satisfying. I'm glad it ended like that. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend over 4-leaf clovers? I, female 21, and my now ex-girlfriend, female 22, had been together for 2 years, and last spring we decided to go on a 4-leaf clover hunting date. She didn't find any, but I found 3 of them. Ever since I was young, I've had special luck with finding them. I have a collection of them, actually. I find them without even looking. My ex, has also been searching for 4-leaf clovers since she was young. I'm going to replace the M name with Monica because I hate it when people do this and it's ridiculous. She's never found one ever. So naturally, I brag about it. It's always been like a fun little playful thing between us. I'm just luckier than her, I guess. Okay, wait, hold on. Weird relationship dynamic. Not that it's like that much of a big deal, but like, I think that the right reaction is like, oh, you haven't found one? Let me help you find one. Not to be like, na boo boo, I found one, you didn't. Like, girl, grow up. It's a fucking 4-leaf clover. Like, anyway, to yesterday, the problem. We went on our 4-leaf clover date again. Within the first 10 minutes, she finds her first ever 4-leaf clover. We cheer and I take her picture with it. I'm happy for her, but I'm also upset because I wanted to have been the one who found the first one. It's my thing. So something good happens to your partner and your reaction is to be upset about it? Y'all, we need a therapy emote. Like, I want to make an emote that's like the big red button and it says therapy on it. Like, dead ass, I need one of those easy buttons, but like you click it and says therapy, because holy shit. We keep looking for another 10 minutes and I find one, so I hate life a little less. I found another. She cheers for me and we move on. Looking at different clover patches. This is where everything goes to actual hell for me. I hear her yell excitedly and I think she's just found another one. I tell her cool and move on. She runs up to me and shows me a fucking 6-leaf clover. I just stare at her. I grab it out of her hand. What the fuck? How does someone who has never found a 4-leaf clover find a 6-leaf clover? Those odds are literally insane. I look at it closely to make sure she's not either lying just to get to me, or that she's not stupid and it's actually just 2 clovers stuck together or something. But no, it's actually a 6-leaf clover. I'm actually so pissed. Why did she get to find the 6-leaf clover? Hello? Who finds a 6-leaf clover? Yo, girl, have the hobbies you want, but I'ma say it. Getting this upset over a plant is fucking ridiculous. I would get the ick immediately. Who cares? If you're sitting here and you're like, my day is ruined because this person found a 6-leaf clover plant and I didn't, reevaluate your priorities, please. People are starving. People are homeless. And you're upset that there's a 6-leaf clover that you didn't find? Come on. So anyway, I tell her that's insane and I'm taking it. She gets sad and says, nuh-uh, she found it. It's hers. We start arguing about who deserves the clover. I tell her I do because I'm a veteran clover hunter and deserve this to be in my collection. If someone ever said those words to me, I would deep throat a Glock. Easy. What am I doing here? Oh, like, you know, she goes on about it being sentimental or something. She does this stupid manipulation tactic where she starts effing crying to make me feel bad. It's bullshit, honestly. I tell her to suck it up. I'm keeping the clover. She huffs and wanders off to the car in tears. Whatever, she was being ridiculous. I take my time and look around some more and find 2 more clovers. I got bored and decided to leave and to see if she's done pouting. She sat in the fucking back seat with her arms crossed. I tell her to stop being dramatic and get in the front seat. She fucking snaps. She starts screaming, calling me all sorts of nasty names. She said I'm manipulative, controlling, and all kinds of other bullshit. I have never in my entire fucking life been called any of those words, so I'm not sure where she got it from. I just looked at her while she screamed and hit the back of my seat. She finished okay, all right. Can we, guys, I'm like, listen, don't get me wrong. This poor girl got her shit stolen. I get that. She's also kind of acting like a child. I don't know, maybe I guess they're in their early 20s, but I can't imagine me reacting this way in my early 20s from either of their perspectives. I would be like, you're ridiculous. We're breaking up. Drive me home. Guys, they're 21 and 22 and they're acting like 6-year-olds. The girlfriend has every right to be upset. I'm more like, once again, it's a plant. I just looked at her while she screamed and hit the back of my seat. She finished screaming like an idiot and I let a few minutes of silence go by. She asked me if I was going to say anything. I shrugged at her because, like, what does she want from me? She told me to go fuck myself and to take her home. I shrugged again and pulled out with her in the back seat. She lives a decent drive from the park where we went clover picking, so the car ride was tense and awkward. She would just randomly sniffle and it started to get on my nerves, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want to hear her bitch anymore. About 15 minutes into our ride, I decided I couldn't have this anymore. This isn't the first time this has happened. She is so selfish and never lets me have anything to myself and never listens to my side of things. She always does some type of crying shit and then says she just wants me to be nice to her. Which I am? I don't know. So anyway, we're 15 minutes into the ride and I speak up and tell her I think we need to break up. She lets out a noise like scoffing at me and I didn't like that. So I just decided to give it to her. I told her how I think she should have given me the clover because it was the right thing to do. And she's incredibly selfish for not wanting to give it up and see me happy. How broken does your brain have to be typing this out like, yeah, bro, this makes total sense. She's the selfish one because I want it my way, and her not being willing to do it my way means that she's the selfish one. Therapy, 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 please. She stayed silent until we got to her house. As she was getting out of the car, she told me that I'm the biggest asshole that she has ever encountered and she can't believe she let herself love me, blah, blah, blah. I'm not an asshole. I don't think I am. I told my friend about this and he thinks we're both assholes, so I don't know. I need more opinions. Link to the picture of the 6-leaf clover so you know I'm not bullshitting. Hold the fuck on, chat. This right here ruined a relationship. Yeah, let me just post on Reddit really quick the thing that ruined my relationship and expose the actual child that both me and my partner are. Listen, I don't want to call the girlfriend an a-hole. I'm just pointing out how immature she was. Like, I don't agree with this friend that thinks they're both assholes. I just think they're both ridiculous a little bit. But OP is the devil. That's the easiest fucking devil we've ever seen. What kind of buffoonery was she typing? OP is Gollum. The one clover to rule them all. I wonder if the girlfriend acted like that because OP pushed her too far. Sometimes in relationships with certain partners, you just snap, at least from what I read. Okay, you know what, Tabby, you're right. I would not be surprised if OP is gaslighting and manipulating the shit out of them, and this is just their breaking point. So you're right. Maybe it was wrong of me to make fun of her reaction like that. You're totally right, Tabby. Maybe we shouldn't focus on her reaction, and in a lot of ways, if we had more information, it's probably valid. Update. I gave the 6-leaf clover back. It's been a few days and a lot has happened. I've read all the comments and appreciate the genuine feedback I've gotten, and I realize I am, in fact, the asshole. I think a few of you went way too far. I had a few people actually DM me with how hateful and harsh you were in your efforts to make me see that I'm the a-hole, but those of you who called out my problematic behavior and recommend I look into therapy are appreciated. I personally have a very complicated relationship with therapy and mental health, so I think I won't be getting therapy. I'll just try to be more aware of my actions going forward. I severely doubt that. I did tell my ex that she should maybe look into therapy. She didn't take it too well, but I hope she changes her mind. She's the type to believe in that stuff, and maybe it'll help her more than it would me. Anyway, yeah, I gave the clover back. It was hard, not gonna lie. Part of me wanted to keep it and never look back, but someone said I'd always look at my collection and know the 6-leaf wasn't mine, and they were right. I want my own 6-leaf clover, not one an ex found. Also, and for the people who said they hoped I'd never find another 4-leaf clover, fuck you. I found another yesterday. Chat, I pray that nobody like this comes into your or my life. What an absolute piece of shit human being. I'm ever on a date with a girl and she's like, I'm into 4-leaf clover picking. I'm walking out of there. We're not risking it, chat. We're not risking it. Am I the a-hole for getting mad at a woman for texting me from a Google Voice number? I, 49 male, matched with a woman named Lady, 25 female, on a dating app. We started talking and it seemed like we were getting along really well. After a couple of days, I asked her for her phone number. She gave it to me and we started talking from there. We've been talking for a few days now. Earlier tonight, we were talking and I decided to try to call her. When I did, I realized that the number she gave me was a Google Voice number. I texted her and said, Google Voice? You can't be serious. She texted back asking what I meant. I said, why would you give me a fake ass Google Voice number? I don't have time for games and don't like wasting my time. She replied back and said, it's a phone number. What's the difference? I replied and said, it's not a real number. She replied and said, so? I told her to hit me up when she's serious, and she replied with, it's not a big deal, but okay. What a weird thing to get mad at. Like, it's a little unorthodox, but is there anything bad about a Google Voice number? I mean, what? She doesn't want to give out her actual phone number for safety reasons? Oh no. With all the awful, shitty dudes out in this world, it kind of makes a lot of sense. A couple of minutes later, she texted me again and said, hey, insert name here. I'm really disappointed with how you reacted to me texting you from a Google Voice number. Frankly, your anger about it was a huge red flag for me. It showed a lack of trust and a level of control that I'm not comfortable with, especially at this early stage. A simple conversation about it would have been fine, but your reaction made it clear we're not on the same page. I was genuinely interested in getting to know you, but this has completely changed my perspective. I'm no longer interested in pursuing anything romantic. I wish you all the best. I replied back and said, baby, I can't take you serious communicating with you through a fake number. I gave you a real number, so I expected the same from you. Women play too many games over the phone and through the internet. I am not interested in wasting my time or effort with someone that I don't even know is real. I need proof that you're real, otherwise it's pointless. She replied and said, I said what I said. Dude, you do realize she could not be a real person and give you a real phone number, right? His logic isn't even sound here. You could just buy one of those like disposable SIM cards and put it in a phone and use that phone number. I mean, I know he's old as fuck. Okay, maybe not old as fuck. I shouldn't say that. I know he's older and maybe doesn't understand that, but like, come on, bro. I replied back and said, okay, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but I won't waste any more time. Have a great rest of your year. She replied back and said, I'm not hurt at all. Plenty more where you came from. Obviously, I dodged a bullet. I replied and said, wow, okay. And she replied back with, okay. Okay, why does she keep replying to this man? Like, girl, what is we doing? Stop replying to him. Now I'm wondering if I could have handled things differently and if it was really worth getting upset about it. I need some outside opinions. Am I the a-hole? Yes, you are. Here's what I'll say. I would say this isn't Am I the Devil worthy? Because it's like, all right, dude is just getting upset because he's kind of dumb and doesn't have the right logic. That's not Am I the Devil? That's Am I stupid? And the answer is yes. Where I think he's the devil, though, is this paragraph. His like, women play too many games. I'm a little incel baby who can't find a woman my own age to hit on at the age of 49 years old. Like, there's probably a reason bro is still single at this point. That line, I'm like, yeah, you're probably the devil for your own personal beliefs around women. I'm sure all of it didn't come out in this post, but I wouldn't be surprised if bro was an Andrew Tater Tot dick sucker. My daughter doesn't recognize me. My daughter is 3 years old and she hasn't seen me since she was 1 year old. We finally met yesterday, supervised by social workers and child psychologists, and she treated me like a friendly stranger. I kept my focus on the here and now during the 1 hour visitation. After the visitation, I broke down crying that she doesn't recognize me. I resent her mother. I resent her in preventing me from visiting my daughter when they moved out of the country. The child psychologist gave me some heart-rendering news that I will have a relationship with my daughter, but not as deep as she would have with her mother because of how far I am from them. He also questioned about the need of a father figure. Her mother deliberately took that distance and she knew I couldn't move closer to them. For that, I resent her. Sadness took over more powerfully than resentment. I'm so sorry, my little one. Okay, this edit is just them saying thank you for people who are compassionate towards them. I'm getting a bad feeling from this guy, obviously, but I wouldn't have thrown this in Am I the Devil because there's just an insane lack of information here. What did he do? Why does he not get visitation? Why can he not move to another state? It sounds like he maybe went to jail, but like question mark if that actually happened. I don't know. To me, it's more of like a weird one to throw in r/Am I the Devil because it's just, to me, it's r/I need more info to determine what the fuck is going on here. She made false allegations that I was violent, a narcissist, a psychopath. I'm sorry, it just triggers a lot of traumatic memories. My toxic ex convinced the court that I'm a monster. I mean, she probably had evidence to support that, but like, I don't want to crucify this guy off of a Reddit post, but like, my answer here is more unreliable narrator. Okay, hold on. There's more posts here, chat. This is from 2 years ago. In r/divorce will I ever be in my daughter's life? I'm a 36-year-old living and working in Netherlands. Several months ago, my soon-to-be ex moved back to her hometown in Germany with our 2-year-old daughter. Been together 6 years, married for 3 years. The gist leading to this separation are mental health issues from my soon-to-be ex. I suspected postpartum depression or her pre-existing depression. Our move from Germany to the Netherlands with an infant. You can imagine the stresses of moving during the pandemic. The strain in our relationship spiraled down. I'm also at fault too, which pushed the strain where at some points there was physical violence. In her words, I am throwing things at your direction, but not at you. The most violent acts I did were yelling, punching at pillows, and throwing my keys on the ground. So this ex was throwing shit at OP? I mean, don't get me wrong, yelling, punching pillows, and throwing keys on the ground aren't great, but we've read plenty of stories on here where we've deemed throwing objects at your partner, whether meant to hit them or not, isn't okay. Social services and other organizations were involved, even the GGZ-FACT, Dutch mental health teams. They tried to help, but they found our situation to be very complicated. My soon-to-be ex took the decision to move back to her hometown in the guise of getting help because she's not getting it from the Dutch. I consented that my daughter can move with her, but she reneged her documented promises of continuing contact with our daughter. What I have are weekly video calls of no more than 15 minutes. Been pushing for more like weekend visits, holiday and birthday visits. She refuses because my video calls with my daughter caused night terrors and sleeping problems, and the German social worker couldn't do much at all given my soon-to-be ex refuses to cooperate. What? Night terrors and sleeping problems for the daughter or for your ex? Soon-to-be ex tried to file for divorce without informing me. I was only informed of it when I got a letter that she applied for legal aid. I soon found a lawyer to tackle ahead with the divorce with the goal of having primary custody of my daughter. I understand I can't have full custody, but the very least is that my daughter lives with me. A loving parent who will give her space and freedom to explore. Will a co-parenting situation work? I think it's difficult given we're 5 hours train ride from each other. My friend tells me that my soon-to-be ex is not in a good state of mind. I don't even know if my soon-to-be ex is getting psych help, as I do have a psychologist helping me. I'm gonna have to stop here. I wonder whether there are other people with similar situations and how did it go for you? He put this quick excerpt into r/off my chest. I'm stuck since my divorce. I've been stuck in almost all aspects of life. My professional career is on a holding pattern, lacked any motivation or energy to push up, just enough to stay afloat. I'm all alone, family alienated because of my ex. I don't want to lean on any of my remaining friends because I feel I would drain all of their emotional energy. Didn't want to bother my psychologist. Stuck in court trying to be part of my kid's life who lives in another country. My ex is making every effort and putting allegations in court to keep me away from our kid. I still struggle whether I'm a monster or an abuse victim. I'm still blaming myself for the divorce. I think some of these comments are important. This POS thinks that he can manipulate people to coddle him. He got divorced in Germany. It's very hard to lose custody like he did. It means that judgment considers him to be dangerous to his child. If his ex allows him contact, she would have lost her child as well. That's how it works here. My blood is boiling. If they ended up with this kind of setup, they either committed domestic abuse without enough lawyer money to get custody anyway, or have drug/alcohol issues. Despite Reddit, rhetoric courts actually have a massive boner for 50-50 custody, even if one of the parents is a shitty person. And in the comments, it confirms the OP committed domestic abuse. So wow, what a victim. So sad he couldn't traumatize his child too. Let's not think about the poor mother being forced into proximity with him, who will have to relive her trauma from the daughter innocently talking about daddy. Also, as long as he doesn't hurt their child, the court will most likely increase his custody over time. I've seen it happening for drug dealing, alcoholic, domestic abuser men. Started out with supervised visitation, quickly upgraded to 50-50, and damn, the mother forced to see her abuser again. That's actually a good point though. Like, courts do kind of have a boner for 50-50 custody. I think that's the most suspicious part for me. I don't know, chat. I just hate posts like this where we have to fill in so many gaps. It's just like, I don't think I can like confidently give any definitive verdict of this, but what I will say is everybody pointing out how courts get a hard on for giving 50-50 custody and the court didn't give them that. I think there's something we're missing here. Oh guys, by the way, just like I predicted, the beast is out. He's just eating right now. Oh, chat, I know how to get him out. Oh, there he is! Our handsome man! Wow, what a big stretch you just did. Can you come say hi to stream before I give you treats? The man! Say hello, Mr. Beans. They've been waiting for you. Let's be honest, none of them are actually here for me. They all just want to see you and your sweet, sweet face and your cutie little paws and toe beans. The handsome man says, thank you. Yeah? You want to go down? Oh. Okay. All right. He said, Dad, shut the fuck up. It's treat time. Who done it? We had Maggie with the 5 gifted, Ren with the 5 gifted, Alicia with the 5 gifted on YouTube. We had a couple of resubs, community subs. So thank you guys. These are from you guys. Here you go, baby boy. Oh, and he gets up. He evaluates. He digs his claws into the carpet and then he eats. My mod Gender Ghost saves my life. She also donated. These are just from Gender Ghost, all right? And just because he's so sweet and handsome, we're gonna give him 2 more. These ones are from chat, because Beans is such a sweet, handsome man, and he deserves all the treats. All right, Mr. Beans. Are you running away from us? And so is the appearance of Beans. My wife almost left me. How do I get over it? We have a 22 female wife and a 25 male OP. We've been married for 4 years, and at first things were fine, but after we got our kid, things changed. I graduated college and started work just before the kid was born. We were living at my mom's house while I finished college because it's normal in our community, and also it helped that we could pay off college right away. And then 2 weeks before the kid was born, we moved out. Okay, we've been married for 4 years. So you were 21 and she was 18 when you got married, which probably means you were dating her while she was a minor. I don't know. I mean, they're only 3 years apart, and I could totally see a scenario where it's like a freshman is dating a junior in high school and they've been dating since high school, which I don't think that'd be terrible by any means, but it's also, why are y'all getting married when you still live with your mom? And then 2 weeks before the kid was born, we moved out. So they were living there before the kid was born, and he started working just before the kid was born. I can't imagine that, bro. Getting married while you're still living in your parents' house is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. I think I just need more info to be able to decide whether or not this is predatory or not. Either way, why the fuck are y'all getting married if you still live with your parents? I have a fraternity brother where after college, him and his girlfriend lived with their parents, but after they had graduated college, they weren't married yet, and they were doing that so they could save up for a house. That makes sense to me. But if you're in college living with your parents, I don't think you should get married. That is a weird time to get married. Emmy, this is exactly how I feel. I couldn't imagine going on a honeymoon and coming back to my parents' house with my partner. Or Emmy, I can't imagine, like, if I'm living with my mom and I am in wedlock with a woman, it's like, hey, shawty, like, let's try to have some sex, but we gotta be quiet so my parents don't hear us, you know? I'm like, nah. What's the point of getting married? You guys are 25 and 22. You have the rest of your life to like pull the trigger on it. It was hard to go from living with people to moving out and having a kid within a month. And on top of that, my new job was an hour commute on average each way. First few months were miserable with the baby. It caused a huge divide between us. She was always crying and angry. The baby was always crying, especially at night. Shit was hard. We kept having arguments, and house was always messy until around 9 months. Things began to calm down. She wanted to go back to work, and I agreed because bills were piling up. Things got better between us for a few months until she started being angry again. I was stressed from work, so coming home to an angry wife was frustrating. At this point, I was having a hard time mentally with things. My days felt so bland. I wake up, drop off kid, drive for an hour, work, drive for an hour, come home to angry wife and have to clean the kitchen, go to sleep, and repeat. I felt dark and angry all the time, and I just couldn't bring myself to be intimate with her anymore. When I tried to communicate to her, she stonewalled me for a few days and never brought it up again. She does that a lot whenever I try to communicate to her. Anyway, by 2 years, the kid was getting really cranky and hard to handle at home. Work was really stressful. Wife got even worse to me, kept saying I don't love her. I got angry at her one night when we were out with friends, and when we came home, she tried saying that I don't love her. I blew up and yelled at her. I admit, not my best moment, but things piled up. The next day, she told me she wants to divorce. I instantly started crying and asking her why, but she wouldn't tell me. I begged her to stay and she did, but things don't feel the same after that. She quit her job and started her own small business, which I thought would be a good thing because she was always stressed from work, and also maybe laundry would get done consistently now. But she was the same, if not worse. She sleeps in every day, doesn't clean the house at all, and expects me to do it, expects me to do the bedtime routine. She never asks how I'm doing, and when I talk about it, she doesn't really listen. It feels like she's a stranger. I don't know what to do. She feels like a different person than the one I married. After she tried to leave me, I'm terrified she's going to actually leave, and I've been so anxious lately. What can I do at this point in our marriage? I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards an everyone sucks here. Because, like, he does help his wife. He drives the kid to school. He helps clean the kitchen. It sounds like a majority of his role is the work aspect, which also takes an hour drive there, an hour drive back. This, to me, is more of a on the wife thing than on him. He's saying he tried to communicate with her, and then she's the one that doesn't want to communicate and work through this together. So, like, don't get me wrong. I don't think OP's perfect by any means. But me personally, I want to go with everyone sucks here, not OP is the devil. Like, this is how I feel, Gooey Gremlin. They're both too immature. Like, both of them are acting like children, in my opinion. Yeah, this is how I feel, Dragon Dynamico. Why is this an Am I the Devil? I don't see the Am I the Devil post. I see two immature people who became adults too fast. People yell at me for saying this kind of stuff all the time, but like 22 and 25 is extremely young to have kids, especially if you just got out of college. Give yourself some breathing room. Like, I know women have a biological clock, but girl, you're 22. You got plenty of time. I just think they dug themselves in a hole. They both don't have the skills to work together to dig themselves out of the hole and communicate through it. Ooh, wife seemed to have PPD going on too, and he didn't appear to recognize or get her help. So if she was forced to work through an intense depression on her own, that could breed resentment hard. I agree with this, Elise. I do have to say, it is on the husband to recognize and support it, but it's also on the wife. Like, I wouldn't say this is only his fault for not recognizing PPD. That's something I feel like as a parenting unit ready to take care of another living being, you both should have the skills to recognize PPD and be willing to take the steps to support the wife through PPD. I'm going with more of everyone sucks here. Like, don't get me wrong, OP isn't doing everything right, but I don't think the wife is doing everything right either. I think there's a lot on her end that she could improve on, and there's a lot on OP's end that he could improve on. Yeah, that poor kid. The real victim here is the kid. Am I the a-hole for confronting my stepson for his hate of my wife and his siblings? My wife, Susan, 40 female, had a son with her deceased boyfriend, James. However, both of them decided that they were still young and would rather live it, so she allowed my brother-in-law, Robert, 47 male, to adopt him. The kid, Vincent, 19 male, was pretty much raised by him and his wife, 45 female. Before my wife met me, she decided that she wanted to be a parent to Vincent eventually, but James ended up getting cancer, and obviously that demanded her attention more. James died ultimately. Up until Vincent was 14, he was led to believe that Susan was just his aunt. Robert, Mary, Robert's wife, and Susan sat him down and eventually told him the truth. Susan thought that she could be a mother to him after that, but according to Susan, Vincent just said that nothing had changed and that Susan is still just an aunt to him, which made her cry when she left the house. That dampened my opinion of the kid because that's just a cruel thing to say to your own mother. The same mother that gave him up because she just wanted to live her own life? Recently, Susan learned from Robert that he was planning on taking his younger brother and sister, in actuality, his cousins, out for the weekend. Susan asked him if he could bring our kids, 13 female and 11 male, with him. He had said no because this was a day he wanted to spend with his siblings alone. That made Susan upset and said that our kids were his siblings. He responded with, "No, they aren't," and hung up the phone. That got me pissed because he has met my kids and I thought they got along pretty well. So I called Robert and told him that we needed to talk to Vincent. We met with him later that day and I confronted him. I asked him what his problem was and why he hates his siblings and his mom. He said that he doesn't. I told him he clearly does, considering he said they aren't his siblings. He said, "They're good children, they are, but they aren't my siblings," which makes no sense to me. How can he say he doesn't hate his siblings, but say that they aren't his siblings? I told him that his hatred is unhealthy and that he needs to let it go. He said that he doesn't hate his aunt and that his mother is the one who taught him that grudges are unhealthy. Robert agreed with Vincent and said that this has gone far enough and he kicked us out. Susan cried all the way home. I got a call from my mother-in-law who said that me and Susan need to get off our high horse and that Susan doesn't deserve to be called Vincent's mother. W mother-in-law. Mother-in-law is in fact cooking. I thought I was right, but even my friends are saying I'm wrong, so I have to know, am I the a-hole? I don't think I am, but I keep getting told otherwise. I was just standing up for my wife. Yeah, no, you're definitely the a-hole. We're back to it, chat. We're back to a story that belongs in Am I the Devil, because what the fuck is that entitlement? Like, sure, man, you deserve to be called mother when you do the things that a mother should do. Not when you give up your child for adoption because you want to live your life. Be an adult. Be responsible. Just to think like, okay, I'm finally ready to be your mom, even though I haven't been your mom for 14 years. Ridiculous, bro. My daughter has been talking to a therapist behind my back. Posted an r/help me. I overheard my 16-year-old talking to a therapist behind my back. She was talking about her home situation with my baby brother and my boyfriend. She was talking to the therapist on the phone behind my back, and I'm glad that she's getting help, but where is she getting this therapy from? She was in a pretty deep conversation with the therapist, and I don't know what she needs to see a therapist about. She has a pretty good life and is not hard done by. I'm scared that she will lie about me and say something that will make me seem like a bad mom because she's known for being too honest and blunt and has no filter. I'm scared she will lie about me because she's too honest, blunt, and has no filter. So she's not lying about you? I didn't want to confront her about it, so I left her to it. And why hasn't she told me that she needed a therapist? She literally said she would never get therapy again. Again? So this is the second time. What is happening? Y'all, red flags all around, bro. If your child is going behind your back to get a therapist, there is something you're doing wrong. Whether it's supporting their mental health, supporting the fact that therapy is helpful and can be helpful for kids who have traumatic childhood experiences. And then on top of that, her keeping it from you probably means that you're the reason why she feels she needs a therapist. This isn't a help me. This is a what do I need to do to be a better parent? What is the top comment on this shit? I really hope the top comment is, girl, you need to kick your ass into gear because you're probably fucking up. Oh my God. Top comment. 21 hours ago, you posted about your daughter having an eating disorder. Obviously, she needs help that you are not getting her. You claim that on Christmas Eve, you heard her purposely throwing up her food, and now you're on here complaining because she's seeing a therapist and worried about yourself? Lady, your kid needs help and you have failed to get it for her. Stop worrying about yourself and what your kid will say and start worrying about your actual kid. All right, see? This is someone who needs to give up their kid. This is a person who should never be a parent. This is someone who needs to go to their brother or sister who's actually a good human being and a responsible adult and be like, please adopt my child so my child can get the actual support that a child needs. Disgusting. Just ridiculous, man. I've said it once and I've gotten in trouble for it. Not everybody should be allowed to have kids. That is a hill I'm willing to die on. There are too many kids who are going through shitty situations for that not to be the facts. On personal experience, usually EDs come from trauma because of your parents. I'm willing to bet money she is abusive. Something I didn't even think of, Meese, man, but you're probably right. She probably has an eating disorder because this same mom is probably making comments about her body and whatnot. God, that poor fucking kid, bro. How do I get my female friends to stop talking about their dating troubles with me? I hate hearing it because, like, dog, women are so privileged in this aspect. It's not even funny, but I don't want to get into it with them saying how I feel, so I just try to get away. I do not want to hear about how a guy you're seeing isn't making enough, tall enough, or whatever else is the reason. Every time I try to excuse myself to get away, they just end up following me, texting me, or some shit happens, and I end up in that predicament all over again. I did have a history of trying to be friends with girls I like to warm approach, building familiarity, but it never worked, and I stopped doing it because they went out with guys the total opposite. So the only reason you were friends with these girls were so that you could date them? Yeah, I'm sure that's a solid foundation for a friendship. I'm thinking I'm still doing something unknowingly that makes them comfortable enough to do this, but shit, all I'm doing is being myself. Last few weeks, I've been trying to distance myself from them, but days ago, they texted me they were drunk at a club and they needed a ride, and the guys looked creepy there. I wanted to say no so badly, but I wouldn't have been able to sleep that whole night. So I picked them up and dropped them off individually. But this made it so much worse these past couple of days. Whatever it is, this shit is a specific type of hell. Here's what I'll say. This guy, very flawed view on women and how he has relationships with women. I also just think like he's kind of putting himself in this situation, you know? I have a ton of gal friends. I don't think any of them, unless they were truly in a sticky situation, would call me to go and pick them up in the middle of the night and expect me to actually do that. You're probably the simp guy that they can manipulate. Like, don't get me wrong, guys. I also want to point out, I don't think these girls are like the best type of girls to like be friends with. Talking about how a guy you're seeing isn't making enough money, how they're not tall enough. Like, if that's truly the things that they're venting about, those are very shallow things, at least in my opinion. Distance yourself from these people, bro. Go find lady friends who don't complain like that. But also at the same time, he's like, oh, I'm just trying to be friends with them so that I can warm approach and try to date them and hook up with them. Like, dude, that's not the point of a friendship. This whole post is flawed. Like, not only how he's acting with women, because don't get me wrong, I think there are women out there that do take advantage of nice guys, and bro is definitely setting himself up for it, but also he's a nice guy. Not a nice guy in like, oh, he's just a super sweet guy. He's a nice guy in like, all women are the same. Why are they going after the wrong guy when they should be going for me? Like, that's this guy. He needs boundaries. This is great, gamer. I agree. He needs boundaries for himself. About to have a huge financial change. How would you react if I wanted to marry you, but had a bold idea? We have a 24 male OP, and this is posted in r/Ask Indian Women. I'm 24 from a middle class background, and I've recently come across something that's going to change my life financially. Think enough income to earn tens of millions a year, maybe more over time. It's overwhelming, and I'm still trying to figure out what it means. I don't care about big houses or fancy cars. I just want a simple, cozy life. There's this girl I can't stop thinking about. We were neighbors as toddlers, played together 15 years ago, but I haven't seen her since. She's 22, from a lower middle class background like mine, probably never dated anyone. She's humble, down to earth, and I want to track her down, reconnect, and marry her someday. She's the one I really want. Here's the tricky part. With this new financial freedom, I've got this thought in my head. I could meet anyone, and part of me wants to explore that, just not on my own. I want to stay with her, build a life together, but every once in a while, if she's okay with it, invite a willing celebrity for a threesome. It'd be me and her together, only if she consents. I'm not trying to hurt or disrespect her, so women of r/Ask Indian Women, imagine you're her. You're 22. Lower middle class, never dated, and I show up with this big life change wanting to marry you. Then I bring up this idea, staying committed, but occasionally adding a celebrity to the mix. How would you react? Would it surprise you? Freak you out? Sound interesting? I'm just being honest and need to know how you'd feel, especially if you're from a similar background. I'm not trying to sound arrogant, just looking for real advice. Nah, bro, you definitely sound arrogant as fuck. Everything about this post is a fever dream. I just came across something that's gonna make me $10 million a year, maybe more. Like, bro doesn't even have this money in his pocket. And let's be honest, he probably just fell into a pyramid scheme. Bro probably fell for a Forex trading course and thinks he's hot shit. What kind of delusional fuckstick are we dealing with here? Also, why Indian women? I'm just making assumptions here, chat. The way that this is being told, I'm assuming this is an Indian guy. Like, the way that he went about, like, I'm going to go up to this woman I haven't seen in 15 years and marriage is actually on the table, makes me assume that he's Indian, because it's very common in Indian cultures for like arranged marriages to happen. So that's just me making assumptions though. How do I reach out to my ex-boyfriend now that I'm healed? We have a 28 female OP and a 27 male ex-boyfriend. Close to a year ago, my boyfriend Nate broke up with me because I put him through a lot. I was mean-spirited, toxic, and cheated. The story doesn't start there because before my ex, I was madly in love with Paul. Paul treated me horribly in ways that you couldn't imagine and slept with my best friend. After that, I was done with men and decided to get my lick back. Unfortunately, I did it to the kindest person you could ever meet. I've never met someone so sweet and head over heels for me, but I just had this anger that I couldn't get over. I was a gaslighting manipulator and I feel horrible. The last straw was when he found out I cheated and the normally happy-go-lucky guy was just numb. I tried to let him know the pain my ex put me through and he snapped and said, "Well, that doesn't give you the right to drag me into your shit. I love you, I really do. I've been patient with you, but don't contact me again until you heal from whatever the hell you got going on instead of passing your trauma to me." After that, I didn't hear from him again. I was blocked on everything. I tried to contact him for a week, but couldn't, so I decided to do the work to be the partner he deserves. 8 months later, I can say I finally healed, where I'm ready to be the woman he deserves. I made a burner number and ready to text him, just not sure how to initiate the conversation. I mean, don't? Listen, giving OP the benefit of doubt on their healing. Good for you. I'm very dubious, but maybe you did heal. Move on. You blew your chance there. You fucked up. No matter how much you don't want to take responsibility for the fact that, like, oh, my ex hurt me and that's why I did. I mean, let's be honest. You were also probably a shitty person. There's never a good excuse for cheating on anyone. I don't care who you are. You fucked up heavy and you fucked this person up. And now this person will probably never trust you again. Let them live their life. Don't message them again and bring up all these feelings when they've probably moved on and become a better person. I don't know, chat. Maybe y'all have to correct me or something, but I just simply refuse that somebody can be better with this amount of trauma and this amount of anger after 8 months. 8 months to me seems way too early. If she's changed, good for her, but be a good partner partner to someone else. That's how I feel, Katana. That relationship will never be healthy. I also don't think it's healthy for you to complicate his life again, because he's probably healing, doing his own thing. Let him do his own thing. Am I wrong for not inviting my daughter to my wedding after I was uninvited from her college graduation a few years ago? My ex-wife and I divorced a few years ago after I found out about her emotional affair. I initiated the divorce. I did not tell my daughter the real reason because I did not want to affect her bond with her mom. All my daughter knew was I initiated the divorce and that her mom tried really hard to save the marriage. So my daughter was expectedly really angry with me. However, what really hurt me was when she did not want me to attend her college graduation. I was really proud of what she had accomplished, and I was really looking forward to her graduation and her name being called. But when she told me on the call that she didn't want me to come, I took it really hard. A couple months later, however, she called me and apologized, and she was crying a lot on the call. She told me her mom had told her the real reason of the divorce. Apparently, her mom felt really guilty about it, especially after I was uninvited from the graduation. I accepted her apology, but it was hard not to feel some hurt from not attending her graduation. It's been 3 years since then, and I married my wife last week. It was a small, private wedding. I only invited a few of my friends and family. I did not want it to be some fancy, outlandish wedding. I debated inviting my daughter to the wedding, but I realized I still had some lingering resentment, and I didn't want her at the wedding. The wedding overall was great, and I did the father-daughter dance with my niece. Last night, my daughter called me. She was really hurt because I did not tell her I had even married, and she found out about it from some Facebook pics and videos. She was also upfront with me and told me what hurt her most was seeing the video of the father-daughter dance with my niece. I felt guilty about it because she was crying a lot on the call. I told her it was just that my niece is close to both me and my wife. My wife is my sister's best friend. I told her it wasn't a slight against her at all. My daughter then asked me if I didn't invite her because I was uninvited from her graduation a few years ago. I told her honestly that yes, I had some resentment and I wasn't able to get over it. I also told her that it was my wedding and ultimately I had the right to invite the people who I was most comfortable with. I mean, my guy, if it ain't the consequences of your own actions, like this whole fucking stupid sequence of events could have been completely avoided if you just told her that the divorce was because her mom had cheated. Don't try to pull the I'm being noble so that she has a relationship with her mom, with the consequence being that it affects your relationship. Like, I'm sorry, bro, that's just you being stupid and honestly an irresponsible father, not to give her the full reason, the full context when she's old enough. Maybe him not being invited to that graduation was him sleeping in the bed that he made, and him harboring resentment for that is him not taking accountability that that could have been avoided if he just told the truth. Am I the a-hole for expecting my brother to turn down a job offer from a place I was rejected from? So I, 22 female, have done a bit of modeling. Nothing major, just product modeling for smaller clothing brands. Yesterday, I had an audition for a gig, and my brother, 19 male, came with me because he knows I get nervous before auditions. This particular clothing brand is pretty nice, and honestly, the style is much more in line with what my brother wears. Lots of pinks, pastels, lace, and frills. I dressed normally and went into my audition, but unfortunately, I didn't get it. When I came out, I saw my brother talking to one of the employees, and to my surprise, the guy asked if my brother was auditioning. My brother said no, and the guy encouraged him to try out because he thought he'd be a good fit. I was caught off guard, but played along because the worker was still there. After the guy left, I told my brother I didn't get the gig, and he seemed sad for me and tried to console me. I figured that was the end of it, but as I was about to leave, he asked where I was going. I told him I was heading home, and then he asked, what about my audition? I was completely shocked. I didn't expect him to want to audition after I was just rejected. I asked if he was serious doing this to me, and he just shrugged and said he didn't see why he shouldn't try. I called him selfish and left. A few hours later, my brother came home and announced that he had been offered one of the modeling spots. I had already told our parents that I got rejected and what my brother did. And my mom was on my side, asking him how he could do that to me. But my dad immediately took his side, saying that me and my mom were being unreasonable. He also scolded me for leaving without my brother since I was his ride, and even insinuated that I was just jealous. I'm not jealous. I just think it's incredibly rude and selfish to go after something your sibling wanted, but couldn't have. He knew I wanted it, and instead of supporting me, he took the opportunity for himself. My brother thinks I'm an ass, but I really don't see how I'm the bad guy here. This might be a dickhead thing for me to say, but this is so on brand for a model. I just hate these mentalities because it's like, everybody can win here. So what, you didn't get this job? There's probably other modeling jobs for you. And if the shoe fits your brother, like, let him have his moment. This is a big dub in my head. If your brother becomes a model, then that's just more connections that you can make in the modeling world. Everything OP was saying about the brother being selfish, I think it's the opposite, actually. I think OP is the selfish one here. Modeling is my thing. Only I can be good at it. Like, no, spread the wealth, bro. Also, side note, what a first world problem. Oh, me and my family are just so pretty. My brother can just walk into a modeling gig and get it, but I don't want that for him because I need to be the model in the family. Like, shut the actual fuck up, bro. Am I overreacting for being offended that my parents called a little girl the cutest little girl they have ever seen? I think voice inflection matters a lot here. They said it very emphatically and with purpose, as if they meant every word sincerely. Context: at my brother's wedding, bride's 4-year-old niece was the flower girl. I was 26 at the time. I get it. It sounds like I'm jealous of a 4-year-old, and I'm not. She was an adorable little girl. I also understand that families sometimes kiss the keisters of their in-laws to establish or retain good family relations. The way they said it with such absolutism just rubbed me the wrong way. She is the cutest little girl I have ever seen, they fawned over and over again. I'm their only daughter, so I felt some kind of way about it, just standing off to the side like, great. I'm just not a fan of speaking in absolutums to begin with. I tend to take things very literally. I avoid saying things like, that's the best wedding/party I've ever been to, because it could easily be overheard by someone else whose wedding/birthday party/retirement party I've attended. I don't know. It felt like a burn from my parents. Am I overreacting, or do my own parents think I wasn't that cute? I mean, why didn't they say cutest kid I've ever seen? Because that would contend with my brother. Why couldn't they have just said she's adorable, so cute, she did a great job in her role? You can compliment without setting up a favoritism paradigm. Edit to add, they were speaking to the flower girl's grandparents. Low-key, guys, like, honestly, last time I said this, some people were feeling some type of way about it, but my feeling about this, it kind of rubs off a little bit as like autism, because it's like, nobody thinks like this. I genuinely don't think people go around taking when people say this is the best or this is the cutest as like absolutes. This is something that only someone who like overthinks every situation would do. If I go to someone else's birthday party and someone's like, this is the best birthday party ever, I'm not sitting there like, well, what about my birthday party? Like, just no mature adult who has better things to worry about actually gives a shit. Not the devil, but like, girl, grow the fuck up. These two comments right next to each other are so funny. One person being like, I don't think it is. And then another person being like, I really do see it. Posted in r/complaints. I hate trying to make friends. I am a female, 22 years old, and live in Germany. Honestly, I have always had my fair share of struggles in that regard, but having entered adulthood, it only became worse. When I was in primary school, my mom told me it would be better in high school, and after that, she told me it would be better in uni. Well, now that I am enrolled in a university, close to getting my bachelor's degree, it is nowhere near better. People my age, especially other women, just have views that don't align with mine, and I for sure am not going to bend over backwards just to be liked. I'd rather be stoned to death. First of all, they don't care to study and put in proper effort, therefore lacking competence. All they want is to make money, but they don't care to work for it. Then they also drink. I'm not talking about water. Smoke, go to parties, and that is not my scene at all. Third point is that so many of them are excessive consumers of some sort, buying stuff they don't need, being chronically online even during lectures. Lastly, everyone is a leftist of some sort. Ah, okay. All right, there it is. Are we surprised? I get that unis do tend to have some left-wing views, especially in social majors, but it is so hard to communicate with these people. All they care about is being politically correct to a point where it gets ridiculous, and I feel like I am trapped in a mental asylum. For example, I told a story about a 5-year-old boy who said he wants to get rid of his penis, and instead of being concerned for him, they called me transphobic. Come on, people, be rational. We study early childhood education, but they are pro-abortion. Shouldn't you care about the fucking kids more? And they genuinely believe that factors such as gender or nationality either make you privileged or disadvantaged. Well, according to them, I could never amount to anything as an immigrant woman coming from poverty, but look where I fucking am. Don't make me victims out of yourselves, people. I fight back against these silly statements even when discussions get heated, but I just wish I had some like-minded people in my life who would support me for one and not call me everything-ist and everything-phobic. Use real arguments because buzzwords don't convince anyone from the other spectrum. The call is coming from inside the house, honey. If you got so many people disagreeing with you, it's probably because you are wrong. So stupid. Hey, you would probably have more friends if you were just a fucking better person. This isn't an other people problem. This is a you suck problem. Studying early childhood education, but clearly doesn't care about kids if she's anti-abortion. It's ridiculous. Anybody who claims that they care about children, but then are willing to send those children into the actual shit show that is the foster care system, or God forbid, some of the awful fucking parents we've seen while reading these stories and that exist in this world, is just like, you're actually fucking dumb. Am I the a-hole for suggesting we hire a surrogate for our second baby and telling my wife why when she freaked out and refused? Before we get into the last story, if this is your second or third video of mine and you're really enjoying them, but you haven't subscribed yet, just would like to remind you to subscribe. It really helps me out. And if this is your first video, you're really enjoying it and you want more videos like this, I have over 140 reading Reddit videos up on my channel. So after this video is done, feel free to head on over there and check those out. I also would like to take this time to present my channel memberships if you guys want to support me and get a couple of extra perks. The first tier is only $2 a month. You get access to all of my emojis, all my members only streams, and you get access to some old videos that I've privated, but I'm going to start allowing only members to be able to see these videos. So this is a vlog that I uploaded 8 years ago. You can see cringy old Sarby if you're really interested in it, but only members have access to the videos. Only the members can see how cringe I used to be. On top of that, I have a $6 a month tier, which gives you early access to my videos. So as soon as they're uploaded and ready to go, I make them live for my members only, as well as any exclusive long form videos that I choose to make for members only. And then I kind of have this bigger $25 a month tier that is honestly excessive. There's nothing super extra other than you get a signed photo from me and Beans. So if you're interested in signing up for any of these memberships, all you got to do is click the join button right next to the subscribe button, pick which tier you want and hit join. I want to specify as well, the memberships are not required by any means, but they are greatly appreciated. Thank you guys. Back to the video. I, 37 male, have been married to Wendy, 34 female for 5 years, and we have a daughter who recently turned 1. We both agreed we wanted to have at least 3 kids, and Wendy has been hinting about trying for a second for a while, but made it clear after our daughter's birthday. I honestly just haven't been attracted to her since she had our daughter and struggled to keep it up seeing her. At first it was fine, but once her belly grew a lot and she got stretch marks, I just lost my attraction. Don't get me wrong, I love her. I just don't think I can have sex with her anymore. Before she gave birth, I asked her to wear a shirt and just said it was so I could focus on her and not the baby. But now I don't have any way to excuse it anymore, and I've been trying to avoid telling her. Well, when she brought up us having another kid, I suggested we try surrogacy this time. We both make enough to live well and can afford it, so finances wouldn't be an issue. She freaked out, said no, and asked why. I didn't want to tell her, but eventually I just blurted out that I don't feel comfortable having sex with her because there's no attraction. I admitted everything and she was in tears asking if I really meant it. I said I was sorry, but I was, and I can't help not being attracted to stretch marks, and that's why I suggested surrogacy. She took it to mean I don't love her at all and left for her mom's with our daughter. She refuses to come home and tells everyone around us what happened. Her family hates me now, our friends won't talk to me, and my family even called me a tool and said I should have gotten therapy to deal with it, which I don't understand since therapy won't change how my attraction works. Was I the a-hole? I don't understand this not being attracted to stretch marks thing. It's just like, just what a pussy. Like, what an immature rat bastard mentality to have around attraction to another human being. Up here, I actually think there are some guys where being attracted and having sex with their wife when they get pregnant is actually like somewhat of a real issue. I'm glad I finished the story before I talk because I don't think it's that. I think it's genuinely, he is just a shallow human being, even more shallow for not communicating ahead of time and hiding like, hey, this is an issue with with my attraction. Let me come to my wife so we can handle this together as a team if there is something to be done here. But then also suggesting the surrogacy as a fix to that is just shallow as fuck. It's shallow as fuck to not be attracted to stretch marks, and it's shallow to suggest the solution being surrogacy. I can't believe that, bro. Truly a devil to end this video. OP better look like freaking heaven with no imperfections at all if he has such big opinions on what she should look like. Bro, you know this guy looks like a fucking rat. He's probably the most mediocre looking dude ever.